Hello again, everyone, and welcome to Missouri Sports Network, MissouriSportsNetwork.com, where everyone has a home field advantage. Presented, as always, by Central Bank of the Ozarks, Doak Propane, Great Southern Bank, Labor's Local 663, Shelter Insurance, and the Bank of Billings, and coming to you live from the Pizza Ranch studio here in studio. Pleased to be joined now by Liberty North Eagles head football coach Andy Lierman. And Coach Lierman, first off, thanks so much for your time today.
You bet. Thank you for having me. Excited to talk with you.
You bet. First year as the head coach, you're not unfamiliar to Liberty North as you came in back in 2017 with Coach Jones, Greg Jones from Kearney, who has since moved on after going to the state championship a year ago. You guys have really got it rolling here over the last 3 years, 36-6 since 2019. Can you point to maybe a group, a class, or a person, or maybe a game? Maybe you go back to that October of 2019 win over Staley 24-12. We thought, hey, we've got it rolling now. They were a very good program that year. Can you go back and point to maybe that turning point in the program?
Yeah, our second year, we came in and Liberty North had a little bit of history of having some good football early on, and they kind of had a few down years. And Coach Clemens left, Coach Jones, and the rest of us kind of came over. And our first year was pretty rough. Our second year got better. I think in our second year we lost all of our games by less than 6 points. I mean, we had several close games, and the guys were just trying to kind of figure out how to win. Our third year here, that class kind of struck gold a little bit. We had a great year. We had some big wins. We beat teams that we hadn't early on and kind of got over the hump of those things. That class was the first group we'd had for our first full 3 years. So we'd had them since they were sophomores, and we kind of started ingraining the culture into them, and they understood how important weight room was to us, important to doing the right things and practicing the right way. And man, that group just kind of took it and ran with it. And we've always felt like that second year here, that group kind of figured out, but our third year, that class, that senior class, really did a tremendous job, and they've kind of just taken it and ran with it from then. The kids have just from year to year just picked it up and carried it forward and continued to move it forward, and the success just kind of speaks for itself.
11-2 a year ago, finished second in the state. Coach Jones takes a job at Oregon, so goes a long way from his hometown in Louisiana.
Yes,
Uh,
sir.
you step in and announced on March 23rd of 2022 that you would be the head coach, and now you've continued that. You've got it rolling. Tell us a little bit about your team this year.
Yeah, so we're a super experienced group. Coach and I joke, we talk pretty often still, and he jokes with me that he didn't leave the cupboard bared for me. So, obviously we've got some great kids. It's nothing special we're doing. I tell them all the time, they're the magic. I mean, our staff's a great staff. The continuity of the staff, everyone stuck around. After Coach took another job, and so a lot of us have been around each other for several years. We were at Kearney together, and so I think that's a big piece of it. Honestly, is that our staff has had a lot of continuity. We understand each other. We know our schemes. And so those things didn't change. It was kind of a seamless transition. It went from having a Cajun voice talking to a guy from small town Missouri talking, but there just wasn't a whole lot of difference. I've got a lot of culture ingrained in me from Coach and the things that he's taught me over the years. I was with him for over 10 years. And so, the things that he taught me and I learned through him are still a big part of what I do and the things that we do within our program. We've got an experienced group of kids. We've got several kids. We brought back 9 on defense from last year. We had to replace the 2 corners. And honestly, the 2 corners we haven't missed a beat. But we've got just a group of kids that have 2-3 year starters on it. And so that the DNA, so to speak, of our team right now is our defense. And they just do a great job of doing the things we need to do versus different schemes each and every week. We've got a great kicker in Blake Craig, who's going to go to Mizzou next year. He's an Under Armour All-American kid. He's just a tremendous kicker for us and a great weapon. We've got our offensive group, who's probably our biggest question mark coming in this year. We graduated several kids. Our offensive line had graduated 4 out of 5 starters, but we have probably, in my opinion, one of the best offensive line coaches in the state, and Coach Llewellyn. Dan Llewellyn, who was at Kearney back when Mark Thomas was there back in 2002, 2003. And so he's kind of been there, done that, and he just does a good job of creating linemen out of whatever he's got. And it just kind of continues to grow those guys and get them better. And I think each week this week, they've continued to get better, even through injuries. We've had guys step up and do that. And so our offense is kind of starting to click. And so, we feel like the last couple of weeks we started kind of click on all cylinders with our defense, special teams, and our offense playing together. But if you ask me one thing, I think it's just an experienced group of kids that understand what the expectation and the standard is, and they allow us to push them and coach them hard. And they just don't want to be the team that lets anybody down, so they continue to work to do that.
As you look at your district right now, you're sitting, sitting at the top of that district with regards to the point systems.
Yes,
When do
sir.
coaches kind of start looking at that district, those numbers, and then kind of game plans? Hey, we maybe need to score this many points. We need to hang on because you want to play as many home games as you can, obviously.
Yeah, so here in Kansas City, especially in the metro, we end up playing a lot of the same teams we play in conference. So, for us, you try not to look too much at those district standings, but you also understand some of those teams you play, you might be fighting for seeds. You're going to get the tiebreaker over them if you win. So each game around here is important, just because how the close proximity of everybody that's playing each other. It's a little different than South I-70, where some of those teams, at least Summit North, and those teams kind of come south to play. We're right here in the city and we're going to play each other. And so, whether it's a conference game or just a non-conference game, our games are all important. And so we kind of try to keep an eye on that district standings just to kind of get a feel for, hey, how's this going to work out? What's it going to look like if we win or lose this game? Obviously, we don't make it a focal point, but as a coach, you're kind of looking at that, getting an idea each and every week. A prime example of that was a couple weeks ago playing Rockhurst. I mean, they're in our district, and obviously they've got a very tough schedule. And so no matter what their record might be, their strength of schedule may bump them up a little bit. They're playing Bentonville, Arkansas, and Bishop Miege out in Kansas. And so you're trying to get a win over those guys, not only to win the game, but you also understand that they may end up being the second or third seed, whatever it might be. And there's a chance that you're going to be able to hop them if you have a tiebreaker over them.
As you look at this point in your season, and everybody's got bumps and bruises and things like that, but are you relatively healthy overall?
Yeah, we're just starting to get healthy. Week one, we have a defensive end, Javon Smith, who's going up against Caden Green, the big offensive tackle at Lee Summit North, and ended up getting a separated shoulder. And so he's been out several weeks. He's a Division I defensive end at 6'4", 240. He's just a great player for us, and he's finally getting back to where he might have a chance this week and possibly next week to kind of get back in the lineup. We had a lineman get hurt. We've just kind of had some bumps and bruises, and honestly, we've kind of had a little bit of sickness run through our team. So as far as guys getting strep and the flu and that kind of thing. So we've kind of been battling it. We feel like we kind of joke in the office. Hopefully it's kind of all getting over with. So down the home stretch, we'll have an opportunity to be healthy, but we're finally starting to get there. We've got a few guys that are still a little bit banged up, but we're hoping in the next couple of weeks that that'll all kind of take care of itself.
How much, with Class 6 just being the 32 teams, how much do you pay attention to the area? I mean, to the state of Missouri? You're looking at, what Nix has done. And, I kind of look at what their numbers, their wins and their kind of turnaround last couple of years have been very similar to Liberty North and what you guys have been able to do here in the recent years. And do you check in on the St. Louis schools? Are you kind of watching the entire state?
Yeah, as a coach, I think you do. You just kind of keep an overall view of what's going on because down the road, depending on how things go, you might run into some of those teams. I know the districts are lined up a little bit different this year, so we're going to see some east side, south side of the state type teams a little bit earlier than we would last year, and so just trying to kind of keep an eye on who those teams are and what they're doing. But as a team, we try to just kind of stay focused on the next game, just like everybody else. Looking right at that next one because we know around here, especially in the metro, each and every week there's somebody that can knock you off if you're not on your A game. And so just trying to kind of stay prepared with the team. But overall, yeah, definitely. I've noticed Nix is doing a great job down there. And, obviously CBC's got a great squad again this year. And so just kind of keeping a bird's eye view, so to speak, of those teams.
Now, going in here, you're 5-0 going into week 6. You've got Blue Springs. What are you going to have to do there to come out on top? You have them at home this week.
Yeah, so we got them at home. It's homecoming. So, as a head coach, you're always kind of concerned about all the distractions all week long that go along with that. But, Coach Polson's he's doing a great job. And they started out 0-3, and they got a new coach and a little bit of a new staff and some turnover there. And so they've won the last 2 games. And so I've told our kids, they're starting to kind of come around and they're learning what their identity is a little bit. And, we're going to have to stop the run game with them. They do a great job of running the football and finding ways to do that. We played them last year in our first playoff game, and they gave us everything we wanted and more. It was a heck of a ball game, 34-31, I think. And so our guys understand that they're going to come ready to go. They're going to be well prepared. They've got a couple really good running backs and a pretty good receiver that they put out there. the quarterback scrambles around a lot. So we're going to have to do a good job defensively of trying to bottle those things up like we've done the last few weeks. And I think the biggest thing for us right now is just not getting complacent and not feeling comfortable. I think that's a battle that every coach gets. But I think when a team like ours right now that knows they're playing pretty good, they're undefeated, and just understanding that each and every week's a new week. And so trying to keep them dialed in and keep them focused on the immediate goal, not the overwhelming goal, and listening to their newspaper clippings and how everybody thinks they're good. So we're trying to keep them humble around here and just try to keep them focused on the next one.
Outstanding. Well, Coach Lierman, as always, I greatly appreciate you being generous with your time today. I know it's hectic when you've got school. We heard the bells go off
Yeah, sorry
at
about
one
that.
time here.
Yeah,
No, that's okay. We do it every day
yeah.
with coaches and athletes, so it's not something that's unexpected. But for you to step away and give us 10, 12, 15 minutes of your time, we really appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Well, it's been a joy talking to you, and it's awesome the things you're doing for high school sports. I'm excited to follow you along a little bit more now that I know more about it.
All right, very good.
Yes, sir.
Again, Liberty North head football coach Andy Lierman here, part of the Missouri Sports Network here on High School Game Day. And as always, the Missouri State Highway Patrol reminds us, take that 3 seconds and buckle up. It's 3 seconds that could save your life. Be safe, be smart, and be here tomorrow and keep it right here at the Missouri Sports Network.